I'm Jane from Poppy Patchwork, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to make the 54, 40 or fight quilt block. I've drawn the block out in my Quilt Block notebook, and I've written out all the measurements. In this book you will get lots of blank pages, and I find it really useful for calculating the size of my pieces for the block. The odd and even Quilt Block notebooks are available to buy from Amazon. Scan the QR code to visit Amazon. I've just released my new book, The Quilter's Quick Reference Guide, with your favourite cutting charts and step-by-step instructions. The cutting charts include half square triangles, quarter square triangles, split square triangles, flying geese, corner squares, economy squares, half rectangle triangles and cat's cradle. Plus step-by-step instructions for making and trimming your units. Buy your copy today. Scan this QR code or click the link in the description. Now let's get quilting. So we're going to begin by making the 16 patches, and for this we're going to need the long strips and the 2 short strips. So I'm going to put everything else to one side. So I'm going to match the 2 long strips together and place them right sides together, and I'm going to sew along the long edge. And then I'm going to join the 2 shorter strips right sides together, and again I'm going to sew along the long edge. So I'm going to take those to the sewing machine and sew with a 1/4 inch seam. And now I'm going to press the seams. So I'm going to set the seam and press to the darker fabric. And now we're going to subcut these to size. So I'm going to start by straightening up one of the edges. Okay, so I've cut this one incorrectly, so I'm going to have to cut a little bit more fabric for that. So the long pieces I've cut correctly. I'm going to recut for the shorter piece, and obviously all the measurements will be correct in the PDF that you can download from the library if you are a member. So what we're going to do is we're going to make 4 patches now with these. We need to make four patches. So I've placed them together like this, and because we have pressed the seams towards the dark fabric, these seams are now going to nest. So I'm going to take those over to the sewing machine and sew with a 1/4 inch seam. So I've sewn those and now we're going to press them. I'm going to set the seams and then press in one direction. So I'm going to set these to one side and now we're going to make the half rectangle triangles. So for these we're going to need the rectangles in fabrics A and C. And on the wrong side of 2 of these I'm going to draw a diagonal line in one direction, and the other 2 I'm going to draw the diagonal line in the opposite direction. So I'm going to draw this diagonal line from the top left to the bottom right. I'm going to do that on 2 of these. And on the other 2 we're going to go in the opposite direction. So that will be the top right to the bottom left. And now we're going to pin these right sides together, and we're going to pin them like this. So from one corner to the opposite corner. So we've got 2 that look like this and 2 that look like this, and that's because we're making right and left slanting half rectangle triangles. And when I take this to the sewing machine, I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam on both sides of the drawn line. I'm now going to remove the pins and cut along the drawn line. And now we're going to set and press the seams. We're going to set the seams and then we're going to press them open. So now we're going to trim the half rectangle triangles. I have marked my ruler with the unfinished size and the reference points, and these measurements will be on the PDF instruction, which can be downloaded from the library if you are a member. I've also put the piece on a rotating cutting mat because I think it will be easier to cut this. So I've laid the reference points on the diagonal line, and I've made sure that when I cut there is going to be enough fabric to sit in the unfinished size of the block. So I did that first cut. When I'm doing the second cut, I need to line the bottom and left edges at the exact unfinished size, and also make sure that those reference dots are in along the diagonal line. So to cut the opposite slanting half rectangle triangle, I just flip the ruler over to the wrong side, and that then means that the markings you'll see through the lines, but they will be in the opposite direction. And this is where the rotating board, in my opinion, comes into its own. So I'm just going to swivel that round to make sure that the reference dots are on the diagonal line, and now I'm going to cut up and along. Again, just going to make sure that everything is nicely lined up. So now we've got those pieces cut and trimmed, and just wanted to show you that the diagonal line doesn't go all into the point, into the corner here. There's a 1/4 of an inch away. That's what we need to make sure that we maintain a nice point when we sew them together. So now what we want to do is create units that look like this. So I'm going to pin these, and I'm going to make sure that the pin goes through the seam on both sides so that we get a nice point here. So I'm going to pin all of those, and then when I go over to the sewing machine, I'll sew with a 1/4 inch seam. So I'm now going to set the seams and press them open. And now we're ready for block layout. So we're going to join these together in the traditional 9 patch. We're going to join these in pairs and then pop these on the bottom of the columns. Now here we want the seams to match. If you want to right mouse click on the link above, it will take you to my video on how to sew perfect points in your blocks. So I'm going to take these over to the sewing machine and sew with a 1/4 inch seam. And now I'm going to pin these bottom pieces onto the columns. So I'm going to go back to the sewing machine and sew a 1/4 inch seam. So now I'm going to press the seams towards the 4 patch. And now I'm going to sew this column to this column and this column to this column. I'm going to start by matching this point in the middle with the seam. And these seams have been pressed in opposite directions, so they should nest. So I'm going to take that to the sewing machine and sew with a 1/4 inch seam. So I've sewn those last 2 seams and I've given the block a good press. So congratulations, you have made the 54, 40 or fight quilt block. I hope you've enjoyed these videos and thank you very much for all your support by downloading my patterns and buying my books. Bye for now and happy quilting!